Hello everybody and welcome to the fifth and final installment of our Tat-a-Long. Thank you to Miss Gina for use of her cross pattern. I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you've been having fun along the way. As always, feedback is super great. I really enjoy it. Today you won't need your pattern. We finished off the cross in the last video. Today we're working on the tail. So you will need a willingness a willingness to learn, and two shuttles. One, you will use wound. If you watch the end of the last video, we made a lock chain. I may include that just at the beginning part just to kind of review. We'll make the lock chain again in this video, and then we'll get on with the rest of the tail. So we'll pick it up kind of a little bit before the end of the last video and then carry on through. So we're going to get ready to make a lock chain, and then I'll show you a little trick on winding a new shuttle from an existing ball that we have that we're working on. So we're going to wind the ones that we've been using for our chain. We're going to wind a new shuttle off of that, and I'll show you that little trick. So let's get started. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've had a good time so far. So here we go. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a lock chain. It looks like this. So I really encourage you to have two separate colors. We're just going to keep your hand wrapped for a chain. We just made the lock stitch to join it back to the center part. I left it way too wide. It didn't do exactly as I planned, but that's okay. That's a learning experience. Now, a lock chain is super simple. Impress all your friends with your newbie knowledge, because this is super fun and it looks complicated and it looks great. So what you're going to do is we're going to do a lock stitch here just to make sure that that lock join holds. So we're going to keep this thread, the blue thread, taut, and we're going to wrap around. We're not going to flip that stitch, and we're just going to encapsulate that thread and pull it all the way back down into the pinch. Okay, now we're going to start making our lock chain. So we're going to keep our hand wrapped for a chain. We're going to make a chain. We're going to do the first half of the double stitch. We're going to flip it. So make sure the stitch flips. Pull it down. Keep it in the pinch. We're going to make the second half encapsulated, unflipped. So just hold the blue thread, hold it really taut, and just pull that down into the pinch. See? Doesn't look like much now, but let's do like 6 stitches. So there's 2. We're going to flip, unflipped. 3, flip, unflipped. Flip, 4, unflipped. 5, flip, unflip. 6, flip, unflip. Ooh, I flipped it. Hold on, go back. Okay, there you go. Unflip. And as you can see, I got a little picot in there, but as you can see, there you go. It almost looks like a braid, but it makes a really neat little design. How cool is that? So you could just have that be your tail if you wanted. One thing also I notice on my cross here, if you're critiquing my cross, which we can, you notice on this side my chains are really relaxed, and on this side they're really bunched up. There's not a lot I can do to fix it at this point other than to try the floofy dance. But again, that just goes back to consistency of how tight you are snugging your chains. I snugged them really tight on this side, not so tight on this side. So again, Learn from my mistakes if you want it to look different. But all in all, I don't think that that's a terrible looking cross. I mean, of course, there's things I would love to do differently and take out and make look better. But all in all, I really think it looks nice. And even though the middle does look a tiny bit wonky, you really can't tell unless you're looking pretty close about that extra picot. And if you look from the other side, it's kind of hidden. And if not, then, you know, you can always make another one and keep this one for a garbage piece or whatever. A learning piece. But that's a lock chain. So you can make that as long as you wanted and keep going with that. I really like lock chains. I think they look super cool. So I told you though that you were going to need a second shuttle for this part. Oh, please tell me I have an empty shuttle in here. Okay, good. Here's an empty shuttle. So what we're going to do, if you ever need to have, since this is already, you know, our chain, it's already connected to our ball. We need it on a shuttle though. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the existing shuttle we already have to help us. So we are just going to take this and we're going to start winding the blue around the outside. This is also how you could do continuous thread method. If you were, if this ball was purple and we still had it connected and it was purple thread, we could wind some purple thread on the outside of this shuttle and then wind it into this shuttle. But I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to wind this up, and I don't know how much we're going to need. So I'm going to just get a good amount. And we're definitely going to need to let our shuttle dangle because this is getting very twisty. Come on, stay on there. Just wrap some on the outside until you think you have enough. I'm sure there are, you know, the number of wraps you can count and blah, blah, blah. Mike Lyon, if you follow him or go on Shuttle Commander, his Facebook group, he has a whole mathematical equation about how much thread you would need for a project and how to figure out how much your stitches are and lots of mathematical stuff. And me and math don't really get along, so I'll leave the math to Mike. So once you think you have enough, you just cut it off. Don't be scared. And put the ball aside. Now we're done with the ball completely. And then you take your end and you put it through and you start winding your new shuttle. And when you're all done, it'll be at the end where you need it to be to use it. Oh, almost dropped it. This is slippery little suckers today. Pardon me. Sorry I was a little absent. I got the Rona again, so my voice just kind of goes in and out just randomly. It's fun. Fun little trick. Fun little party trick. So then you just unwind from the other shuttle, wind onto your new shuttle. You would, of course, do this properly, and if you condition your thread, you would condition your thread, and you would walk this on and do all the things that I've taught you in other videos or that you've learned along the way. And you would do this properly and wind up your shuttle. But for this intenses and purposes, we're just going to do it real quick. So I'm going to finish winding this up, and I'll meet you back here, and we'll talk about my favorite, one of my favorite elements, split rings. Okay, we are back. So we're ready. Now we've wound our second shuttle and we're going to do a split ring. I love split rings. I think they're lots and lots of fun. I do not like split chains. They are my nemesis. I don't enjoy them at all. Mostly because I can't figure out how to do them quite yet. But I will one day, and by George, then I'll have it. So what you do for a split ring is you set up for a ring just like you normally do. So I'm going to use shuttle 1, set up for a ring, and let's do let's do 6 and 6 because we've been doing 3 picot 3, so let's do 6 and 6. So we're going to just make 6 double stitches regular on a ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Okay, now you need to open up your loom quite a bit here. Now this is the way I do it. I am not sure 100% if it's dead spider, high five, or some weird Angie combination of the two, but this is how I do it. So you take shuttle 1, you lay it out of the way across the back of your hand. You get your work out of the way as well. Flip that over the other side of your hand. Then you take shuttle 2 and you try to choke up a bit because you have 800 feet out here, and you do rods but unflipped. So reverse order double stitches unflipped. And I learned this as a newbie and I thought I was doing something super fancy. So this is probably why I like split rings. So you do second half first. So normally we do under over. So second half we do over under. Unflipped. So keep this, the purple, keep it really taut and just encapsulate, just pull that down into the pinch. Now the first half, under over, pull that down in the pinch and then snug that up. We left a little bit of a picot, but that's all right. You want that super snug. And I had left that from before, so I can't really fix it at this point, but it's so tiny. So then we're going to do 6 stitches. So 2, and you can get really going at a pretty good clip here. 3, once you convince your brain that you're not doing it backwards, that was the really hard part for me, was like, but I'm supposed to be doing it the other way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do that on camera. How about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 blues, 6 purples. Now put down shuttle 2, pick up shuttle 1, take the loom off your hand, hold everything in the pinch. I still keep the loom on my hand a bit because now we're going to hold everything in the pinch and close. And so you would close just like you do a normal ring. But look what happens. It's so cool. You close it down, do the floofy dance. And look it. I love split rings. So now you can just go right into another split ring. Just wrap for a ring. If you want all the purples to be facing up, that one rolled. We didn't post our shuttle very good, I guess. Those stitches rolled inwards. But again, it's okay. It will be okay. The floofy dance will fix most things. So you can see I unrolled it and pushed it back out front. If you want, you can reverse work. Flip the whole thing over. And start with blue if you want. It won't make a difference. If you want them to be switched and blue on bottom and purple on top and all that, forget about reversing work. That was just a silly thing. Just do the shoelace trick. Just tie your shoes, the first part of the tie. There you go. Reverse work. And it should, I don't know if it'll do that or not. Shoot, I don't know. Now I made a liar out of myself. I don't know, because that'll still make it blue on top. So reverse work, there you go, that's what you do. Now you wrap for purple. Now I've got it. See, I knew there was something to this. So you do the shoelace trick and wrap, and then it'll be purple. Let's see, I'll show you. I had a moment of self-doubt there. I apologize. Plus, I think my sugar's starting to dip. So snug that up because you don't want gaposis. 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. 6. All right. Oh my. Left. Oh my. Terrible ring there. I can tat better than that. I promise I can. And then I put the whole thing, I put my thumb and everything in there just because I have a hard time holding it open if I don't. I don't put every finger in as well. I leave my pinky out. Maybe that's where the dead spider part comes in. I have a hard time telling which is which, but I will try to do a good job in the full-length video about split rings. 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Okay. I'm calling it 6. Put that down. Pick shuttle 1 back up. Hold everything in the pinch. It's going to have an extra picot in it that was unintended, but whatever. Do the floofy dance. And there you go. Like I said, that picot's not necessary, but you can do that. And the thing about tallies and split rings, let me grab my thing of tallies over here. Whoa! Oh, I didn't realize it had such a long tail on it. My string of tallies, which is not super great, I was practicing, is the thread starts, both threads starts here and comes out here. They both go along the same way. Normally you have a ring where it starts here and you go around and you come out down here, whereas these start and end, both threads are coming out, whereas normally you have a ring where one thread is coming out and then it meets itself down at the beginning, but it's not starting like this where it has, you can go any direction. So that's the neat thing about split rings. And of course you can make a whole lanyard with a split ring and just keep going. So if you wanted it to switch back, the colors to switch back, you would just do, you would get rid of all this extra stuff. You would just do the shoelace trick. You would just tie it. Just do the first part of like you're tying your shoes. Normally I just lay it on the table and do it. And then you would reverse your work. Oops, I didn't tie that very tight. There you go. And then you would start with the opposite color on top. Come on. And you'd be all thumbs and it would be great. But you would just start like that. My goodness gracious. And if you didn't want to switch shuttles and switch colors, you don't have to. It's just a design element if you like. And if you don't like, then certainly don't do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, whoa, 5, 6. Open your loom up over the back of the hand. I put my whole hand in. I believe Cynthia Stevenson is credited with the high five method. I don't know who came up with the dead spider method and who named them. It's interesting that they've kind of stayed with one name, so that's impressive. So there's that. And let's see if we can get this tighter. So you start over and just remember that these underneath here are unflipped. You're encapsulating, oopsie, you're encapsulating the thread. So they are unflipped. If you're doing rods, they would be flipped. This is rods unflipped. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know why I can't. 5, 6. Second half first, then first half second. Makes you feel real fancy. And if you feel even fancier still, you can still post your shuttle. It doesn't matter one little iota. I don't think it makes a huge difference either way. Get those two threads kind of together though. You are going to want to do that. Do the floofy dance. And there you go. Oh, that one didn't switch. I must have done something wrong because that's blue on top. Oh, I started with blue. That's right. I did my reverse work and then I did my shoelace trick and started with the wrong shuttle. That's what happened. Well, there you go. Just goes to show. You can sort of maybe fix it just by blocking, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, let's go on to the next element. Well, let's leave blue on top. Blue's ready to go, so we'll leave blue on top. And we're going to wrap for a chain. And we're going to do a spiral chain. And this is the chain that Miss Gina originally had as her tail. The whole thing is the spiral chain, however long you would like to make it. It is simply either the first or the second half of a double stitch. Most of the time, and it says on your pattern, the spiral stitch is merely the second half of the double stitch. Over and over and over and over, and it will spiral around, hopefully. Sometimes my spirals don't spiral. So here's hoping that my spirals spiral today, because I'm on camera and it would be really great to have them spiral. So what we're going to do is we're going to do second half flipped. So we're just going to keep doing second half, second half, second half. And it's going to eventually cause, oh, I'm doing first, how did I see? I started out, okay, we're going to start doing second half from here on. That was kind of a node stitch, so second half, second half. There we go. Now it's going to start that rib, and you're going to have to let it twist a little bit in your hand, otherwise it's not going to have. Did I start doing the first half again? See, I'm telling you. I just did the first half. I'm telling you, some days my little tatter brain doesn't work for tatting. Okay. Second half and just second half. Second half. Second half. Second half. Oh, look, she's starting to spiral. And you need to be a little bit, if you're a tight tatter, especially like I am, you need to be kind of loose on this part because you need to let it spiral around in your hand, which is going to feel very awkward because you're going to want to keep it all very straight. So I have no idea how many stitches, I'm not counting. But let's take a look and see. And you see that it spiraled all the way around, almost. Let's snug it up a little bit and you should see the spiral a little bit better. But see how it spiraled all the way? Like I said, my spiral chains aren't the best. This one was just an epic fail down here because I kept trying to do first half, second half. But if you see, if we snug it, there is a bit of a spiral. This is actually a node stitch. That's a Victorian set, which I'm going to show you next. So let's do Shoelace Trick so we can switch shuttles. So you just lay it down and you tie your shoes. Do the first half of tying your shoes, create a little knot, and then that one will now be on top, and we're going to wrap for a chain. Now on a Victorian set or node stitch, I do believe they are the same thing. If they're not, feel free to correct me in the comments. Again, these are sometimes they show up perfectly and sometimes they don't. So here's hoping. So you do, let's say 5 and 5. So you would do 5 first halves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would do 5 second halves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would do 5 first half. This would be the first set. Normally they're in sets, so if you see a node stitch or Victorian sets, it would say how many first and second halves you would have to do, and then it would say how many sets. So that's one set of 5 double stitch, or 5 first half, then 5 second half, then that's one set. So now we're going to do a second set. So now we're going to go back to the first half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then second half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I did it correctly, you'll see like a little V, I guess for Victorian sets. I'm not sure, but it's not quite a spiral. It doesn't go all the way around. It just sort of stops. And again, this needs a lot of practice to get them even. As you can see, mine aren't very even, but you get the idea. How there's like a wave, it becomes a wave, where this one is supposed to be all the way around the thread. See, there's a good one right there. All the way around for a spiral, a V or an M or whatever for a Victorian set or node stitch. So that doesn't look too terrible actually. I'm kind of impressed with that. That's probably better than I've done in a while. So node stitch, spiral chain. Spiral chain, also called a Josephine chain. And then you have your split rings and your lock chain. If you want more chain practice, you can make all this is to me is a really long chain. So Muskin is just amazing. Oh, let's take it out. And clear back in 2016, according to the page marker there, and on her blog, and I will link, I believe I linked in the first video, I will link again in this video, her line tatting element. If you wanted more of a straight line, these are chains. These are all different kinds of chains. This is a double stitch chain, a padded double stitch, variable, spiral, or Josephine. See, there's a good example of a Josephine. That's how it's supposed to look. It goes all the way around, spiraling up. That's a first half double stitch, and it goes counterclockwise. It creates a counterclockwise spiral twist. This is a spiral Josephine chain, and it creates a clockwise twist if you do second half stitch. So there's the second half stitch. That's the one we did. A padded, and again, another padded, a node stitch, Victorian set, or rickrack, and that's how it's written. 5 first half stitch, 5 second half stitch, times 6. And most of the time in patterns, that's how it's written. So I didn't realize it was also called rickrack. There's the lock chain, one of my faves. There's an S chain. There's an S chain single color. There's a Z or a zigzag chain. There's a scallop. A bullion knot, chain. That's a bullion knot braid. These I've never done before. I've never done a scallop. I have attempted a zigzag and an S chain. S and Z chains I have tried. They're fun. I don't remember exactly how to do them, but they are fun. So I really encourage you to check out Muskin's blog post. I will link to it. If you are into Cluny's and you want to learn more about how to do tallies or Cluny's, again, you could do a whole line of them just like you could do a whole line of the split rings. I really encourage you to go to Muskin's website. Again, I'll link that below. I don't have permission to link to New Bear's stuff or to, do anything with her videos. That's her thing. But I do encourage you to go to her channel and check out her Cluny video. You learn more in the first 5 seconds of that video than, at least I did. I think it's an excellent video. Just all of the words, the weft and the, I don't remember anymore now. That's why I can't teach it. But you learn the proper names of the things and you learn how to put it all together, and she just did a fabulous job. So I really encourage you to check out that video if you haven't. And I hope that you really enjoyed making your cross, and especially your chain, your tail at the end. That's mine. And to finish this off, quite honestly, I would either leave it as is. I would either leave it like this and just cut it off. I would tie a knot and do a little dab of fray check or glue, perhaps, depending on what I was going to do with this. And then I would finish this off. I would probably either starch this a little bit of glue water, put it in a put it in a bookmark sleeve if it was truly going to be a bookmark. Or I would not have a tail off of this side. I would just cut it, very close and finish off my ends and hide the ends. And I would start a tail up at this side so that the tail was coming out the top of the cross. And so then I could lay the cross in the book and have the tail coming out the top, kind of thing. Otherwise, this is kind of, lay the tail in the book and have the cross kind of coming out. However you want to do it, it's your project, it's your cross, it's your, hopefully, maybe gift to someone, I don't know. But I hope that you've had fun. I hope that you've learned something. I hope that next time I can possibly do an even better job. So I really appreciate any comments or suggestions on what I can do going forward to make it a more enjoyable experience for everybody. So that's it for the Tat-a-Long. I hope that you made a project with me. I hope that you learned things along the way. I hope that the pointers I gave you were helpful. And as always, you have opposable thumbs and scissors. So if all else fails, you can use those. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Miss Gina for allowing me to use her pattern. She has said that I can use other patterns on her site for the same thing. So who knows, maybe we'll be doing this again. Let me know how you like it. Let me know what I can do better. Huge thanks to Muskin as well for letting me use the posts off of her blog and different things. Huge thanks to everybody that has helped and inspired. Thank you to my hubby who watches every video, even though he doesn't tat, and tells me that they're really good and that he learned a lot. So thank you for that. And until next time, everybody, have a great day. And remember, you are the masters of the thread. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.